Morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday session. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Umbali Mavundla. Thank you for being here and thank you for tuning in. I see there's a couple of people online already. Welcome to our Friday Think Ownership series where we talk to disruptors, creators, entrepreneurs. If you're out there doing something amazing, just let us know in the comments section and we're going to link up with you if you're willing to share, of course. Last week we actually had a pretty cool conversation with Ula Bele talking about cross-African free trade. And this week we have the founder of Kudoti, Gift Lubele. We're sitting down with the young founder of a company that explores the value of waste. The digital platform makes recycling convenient, rewarding, and profitable for anyone from waste collectors to big brands. Gift has built a successful tech-based service for people who are already doing the work in the recycling space, which has landed him the titles of the youngest South African to ever win the BRICS Innovator for 2020, correct? And he's one of the most influential young South Africans. Also, he was named by Fast Company SA as one of the top 20 under 30 entrepreneurs. Gift, welcome.
Thank you, Mbali. You do an amazing job with
I try.
with these introductions. I'm like, who is this person she's talking about? But thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here. I've obviously followed the work that you do along with the hookup dinner for quite some time.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's really exciting to be here. There's a lot of great people that have been on the show, and big ups to them. And I hope your listeners will get as much value, if not more, from this one.
I hope so. I hope so too. I mean, you've done some amazing things, and I can't wait to start sharing. And maybe first and foremost, I just want to know, Gift. You're young. You built a successful company in the tech space. How did you even get there? Let's start there. How did you get to building Kudoti?
Yeah. If I told you how many times I failed in trying to do something, you would say I'm making it up. But and it perhaps leads me to the title: "Do it, fail, and do it again."
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have ideas, and we love ideas, right? Like people think that the genesis of an idea is the beginning of a great business, and it's not. It's not. If you think you had a great idea and you want to use that idea to solve the world's problems, you're fooling yourself. What you should focus on is the problem. You should fall in love with the problem, because if you fall in love with the
Okay, we lost Gift there for a bit. Let's just give him a minute. Let's just give Gift a minute. To reconnect. I'm so sorry about that, guys. All right, guys, I'm so sorry about that. Let me just try to connect with Gift on the side. Just let me know if you can still hear me, if you can still see me. If it's okay, it's definitely Gift. I'm going to try to get him back in a minute. I'm going to try to get him back and get him back. Okay, are we good?
We're good. We're good. I don't know what happened. I just.
It's okay. You are forgiven. You were explaining how when starting idea you should focus on the problem. You can continue on, Gift.
Right. So, I mean, we have a lot of people who, certainly come to me and say, Gift, I have this idea. I'm like, okay, what problem are you solving? Um, and it's sad to see a lot of entrepreneurs falling in love with the solution. They fall in love with how the idea is going to be, what the app is going to do and how it's going to work. That is important, but that's secondary. What you should really try and understand is the root cause. Why is it people are doing what they're doing? Why does that problem exist? And I say that because when we started at Kudoti, we didn't start off where we are today. In fact, initially what we started was
I'm so gonna fight with him because I'm so gonna fight with Gift, guys. I thought we were ready for this. I apologize about that. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna try to gift back. It looks like he's at home. I don't know why his technology is acting like he's in the bundus. But just give me a minute, please. We'll try to reconnect. We're gonna do it. We're gonna try to connect one last time. And if we're still having troubles, I am not sure if we've got a plan B. We'll wait for him. We'll wait for him. Please just be patient, guys. We are talking to Gift Lubele, the founder of Kudoti, tech-based recycling company that helps normal people, and business owners to make their recycling more efficient. It all takes just a touch of a button, and then you can sell your waste, you can recycle, you can find buyers. Gift.
Oh my God, this is I'm actually switching to my phone now, so hopefully that will be better.
Okay. I hope so too.
Yeah.
So we're using your laptop?
I was using my laptop, but the Wi-Fi is so acting up. I'm gonna use my phone, and hopefully that's good.
All right, fingers crossed we can just do 30 minutes at least. Yabon. So right, let me just continue with the questions. Nod or say something if you can hear me. Are we good?
I'm good. I can hear you.
All right, should we go back? I think we should.
We should go back. You see, this is something very important. This is a perfect example of falling in love with the problem, right? So what Wi-Fi is not the solution, guys. You need to understand what the problem is here.
Honestly, and I find it so much easier if I'm just streaming from my phone. Wi-Fi can get pretty tricky. So yes, for those people working in that space, there's room for more solutions. We are very open to it. Yeah. Now let's talk about solving the problem with the product, right? That's where you were. Can we just quickly summarize that for us, and then we can move on to the next question?
Absolutely. So I was just saying that when we started with working with the informal waste pickers on the road, and the idea was to connect them with, this bicycle that was going to go with an app, so that they don't have to pull these trolleys on the road. And it sounded like a great idea, doesn't it? We then realized that, one, these guys don't have phones. Even if we were to give them the bicycles, where's the bicycle going to stay? Who's going to fix it? How is it going to be maintained? We then thought, maybe let's move, instead of building a bicycle, let's connect trucks, or, if you drive around Timbisa or Soweto or different towns, you'd find trucks on the side of the road, written trucks for hire. We're like, why don't we connect those trucks with people who are in the township who are collecting waste and they need logistics, because logistics is a huge part of recycling. We did that. We realized that waste is measured on weight and not volume. which means if you had a massive truck and you filled it with plastic or paper, that doesn't matter. If that plastic or paper doesn't weigh a lot, then you will get little money. And it just didn't make sense. In our first transaction, we lost 1,300 rands. And we realized that, well, this is not a good model. We moved on to then trying and essentially connecting buyers and sellers of waste, which is where we are today. So now we have this platform that essentially enables anyone in any part of the world to buy and sell waste online, and it's really exciting. And I'll share with you a bit more throughout.
All right. The network was punking us so that she wouldn't drop these bars. I appreciate that we are back and we're stable right now, guys. Thank you for being patient. There is a comment here from Kosina Suzwane. Gift Lubele is such an inspiration. It's such an inspirational man. Gifted. I'm inspired and motivated by you a lot. God bless. We've got a lot of people looking up to you, right?
I appreciate you. Like, let's save the sweet comments to later, so I don't cry on video. It's never good.
I'm gonna put the pressure on you now, just so you stay online. Now, I picked up from your blog the following quote. The first time I had a great idea, I said, "This is a multi-million-dollar idea. I should not share it with anyone else because they might steal it." And I mean, low-key, I agree. I wouldn't blame anyone who thinks that, if I share what I have, because I mean, people steal ideas all the time, even though there's nothing really new under the sun. How do I make sure that I'm sharing with the right networks and that my IP remains protected, no matter who I bring on board with me to try and push an idea forward?
Again, Bali, ideas don't matter. They don't.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing. If you came to me and you said, Gift, I have an idea of building a device that enables me to taste food if I touch the screen, right? Yeah, it is an idea, but if I build it, then it's because everyone has ideas, but the implementation and the processes of turning that idea into a fully functioning business is what matters, right? And I'm saying this because now more than ever before, it is far more difficult to protect an idea, particularly IP, than centuries back. I know because I went through this process. One of the things that a lawyer or an intellectual property company or legal company would be looking for is novelty of that idea. What novelty is, somebody, is if you had an idea and at any given point, since you had this idea, you have shared it in public, the idea has lost its novelty, so you can't protect it. And that's just one of the things that, is difficult to do. Like, people share ideas. You might have posted it, you might have spoken to someone about it or whatever. Ideas don't matter. And I would encourage people not to even think, okay, so how do I protect my idea? Look, what you should protect are processes. I would say that is more doable than the idea itself. If you are able to find a process that enables you to do what you do in a unique, competitive, and appealing way to your market, then that's something worth exploring, protection of IP for. Besides that, you don't have to worry yourself much about, oh, this idea is going to be stolen, I shouldn't share it. There's a lot of people that come to me and they say, hey, I need to tell you something, but can you send an NDA? I'm like, what? For what?
Yeah.
If you don't trust me, I bet if you Google what you think, you will find something. I can bet actual money that if you have an idea and you think you are the only one in the world who has had that idea, Google it, right? You will find it. Like, I've seen weird things on the internet. They exist, but why don't we know about them? Because they didn't scale. Why didn't they scale? People didn't understand the problem those ideas were solving, which goes back to my initial point. You should understand the problem. The idea will be so obvious. If you go to customers and you say, Mbali, what is your problem? They tell you, my problem is this, this, this. Okay, why? They tell you, well, this problem exists because of this and this. You ask why. they tell you, you understand the root cause of that problem. The idea will be so obvious. You will know exactly what is it that you should do. You will know how you should do it. And you will know you wouldn't have to spend so much money, which is what we're doing, you know? I mean, I've been in this waste industry for about 5 years now, but I'm not an expert. I mean, there's people who've devoted all of their life in this waste industry. And so we don't go to them with the idea of, we are Kudoti, we're a tech company, we want to help you. We ask them, what problem do you face on your day-to-day operation? They tell us, we write them down. We say, if we solve these problems, will you be willing to pay? They say, yeah. If you solve this problem for me, I will be willing to pay. Yes. We ask them how much. They tell us. So we solve a problem that these guys have. We give it. They tell us.
You are on mute.
And we then give it to them.
We feel good. I caught your 3 points. You solved the problem, and then I didn't hear the last 2 because you went on mute.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that the first one is you go to your customers and you ask them what the problem is. They tell you. Yeah. You ask them, if you solve this problem, will they pay for it? They say, yes, we will pay for it if you solve this problem. You ask them how much will they be willing to pay for it? And they tell you, if you solve this problem for me, I'm willing to pay you this much. You go build it,
So you're essentially saying you let the customer decide how much they are willing to pay, regardless of how much time you spend on bringing up the solution. Why is it important for the customer to tell you how much, what's the value?
Right. That's a good point, Mbali, because sometimes the customer doesn't even know how important the problem that you're solving is for them. And we are seeing that in our operation. I mean, we are literally solving people go digital. We are unlocking so many benefits for them, yet they don't realize, right? So when the customer says, well, I'm willing to pay for this, part of your responsibility is to not just take that as it is, right?
Yeah.
Remember, you're not speaking to one customer. Also, you're not taking every single thing that they're saying. You're taking it with a bit of caution to say, okay.
Yes, correct.
But do you understand your problem? Do you understand that the problem that I'm trying to solve for you is the reason your business is not growing? And you show them, right? So customer education is what's important. And that's what we're doing as well today. We are speaking with companies and individuals who do not see at all the value of digitizing their waste operations. I mean, we've built a marketplace that works. Literally, the only thing that you have to do is collect waste and add it on the platform. That's all you have to do. We say, if you do that, we will find you a buyer. Not only a buyer, we will find you a buyer of your waste material that one is willing to come and collect your waste, that is willing to come and pay you good pricing, right? More good pricing than what you were getting initially. I mean, that's what we want to do. That's the value that we're providing to these to these individuals or companies. But people don't get it, right? So it is our responsibility as a company to continue educating people, to continue telling them that this is good for you. This is the value that this product deserves.
All right. So I'm looking at the app right now. And this could work, how I would get, take us through, the basic steps of from downloading the app, getting it on your phone, and then doing your first transaction, or I'm not really sure what happens inside.
So first of all, I need to correct you a little bit. You are right, but you are not fully right in saying that it's an app. It's a web progressive app, right? So it works and functions as an app, but you don't go to Play Store or Apple Store to download it as yet.
I see.
And I continue to say this to entrepreneurs. When you meet someone, they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to build this app." I ask them why. Why is it that you want to build an app? can't a website do what you want your app to do? A website is easy to build. I mean, we build this ourselves. To build an app, you have to spend thousands and thousands of rands. It needs to be approved, and there's certain regulatory things that you need to do that, Apple Store or Play Store would need, that you probably might not even be ready to deliver. So why bother with building an app? So this is a web progressive app, which means any single person, whether you are in whether you are in Joburg or whatever, if you have a phone that goes to the website or has a smartphone that is connected to the internet, you are able to access our platform. And this is how it works. You literally go onto the platform or the website, you sign up, you register, you add your stock. And by adding stock, essentially, if you are Bali and you are collecting waste, what you would be doing is you would be going there and you'd say, I am Bali, I have X amount of waste. Maybe you're collecting, let's say aluminum cans. You go there, you say, I have X amount of aluminum cans. We then connect you with buyers. We also even connect you with people who might even be willing to sell to you, right? And then the last part is you're able to trade. You're able to trade your waste receivables. You sell them, and the buyers we have on the platform as well, it's not a single buyer. You have several buyers, and we try to always get these buyers competing for pricing for your products, right? So with a single buyer, they will dictate pricing. They can say, this is how much I'm willing to pay, and then that's it. But with a few buyers, because what buyers need is a consistent inflow of waste in their operation. So if they don't have consistent inflow of waste in their operation, they're losing money. And on the other hand, what suppliers need is good buyers who are willing to pay pricing for their waste, and it's pricing they deserve. And we literally provide that in the platform. Even with that, Bali, when I'm speaking, you might be like, man, this is good.
I'm just like, it makes sense. Everybody who's involved wins. And, the competition element of it all just makes me look at entrepreneurship in a positive way, that the people who are involved, the sellers, they will not be robbed out because they are protected.
Even in that, people still think this is not valuable, which goes back to your initial point. To say that there's still a lot of work that we need to do. I mean, in South Africa, we haven't seen or encountered, any company that is doing what we're doing. And if there is a company out there, I would love to learn about them. And really get to maybe, learn from them as well, to see if there's things that they've done right or wrong, if there's things we're doing right or wrong. But we are trying to educate people with what we're doing. We're trying to show people that this is good for you, and there's nothing more difficult than that. Trying to convince someone that their thinking is wrong all this time and your thinking is right and they should use your thinking.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And I like what you said about apps, because everybody thinks that, we are moving more towards, technology, 4IR, we really need to be releasing apps that make our lives easier. And it just made me think now. And I'm like, really, how many apps on my phone am I actually using on a day-to-day basis? So if you are creating a solution and creating another problem for me to use the solution, it's just, you're leaving me in a tight spot.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. It's unnecessary problems that you create for yourself. You have this idea. I mean, and I'm starting now to give back my time. So there's a few people that I kind of mentor, and all of them, whether they want to start a butcher or they are trying to, sell vegan-based meat or whatever. Let me give you a practical example. This lady wanted to sell meat-based, what am I saying? Plant-based packages or plant-based diets packages to people. Her thinking was, okay, I need to buy a truck. I need to hire a marketing person. I need an app and a website that connects me with these people. People need to connect with me. I asked her, do you not know at the moment people on your WhatsApp, right now, do you not know 10 people on your WhatsApp that you can text and say, hey, I'm thinking of starting a plant-based diet company.
Yes.
Have you tried a plant-based meal before? Some will say yes, some will say no. Those that say no, you ask them why. Those that say yes, you ask them why.
Yeah.
If the ones who say no, they say, I've never tried it, you would say why. They tell you, well, I feel like it's weird, whatever, or whatever reason they give you. You tell them, are you willing to try it? If they say yes, you say, great, can I sign you up? You do sign them up. Those who have said yes, I have tried a plant-based diet. Do you want to do it again? Because I'm exploring. Then they tell you yes. Then you say, how much are you willing to pay for? They tell you. If that price meets your targeted margin for your business, then you go ahead. If not, you negotiate, or you ask and you try and understand why is it that they are saying that. In many cases, potential clients would tell you a price that they know and they have seen somewhere. So if someone is coming to you and saying, well, I'll pay X amount, is because they've seen this from either your competitor, or they're relating this to something that they know, which is good. It's good feedback for you to go back and try and understand how your competitors are able to offer that pricing to those people, or why related products are offering that pricing. So it's your responsibility to go and do that research. Anyways, long story short, through her WhatsApp, we haven't built an app, we haven't bought a truck, we haven't done anything. She was able to secure 10 clients who have purchased stock from her, and it's going to be recurring. It's a simple WhatsApp text. There's a lot of things that we come up with and we think we have to do, and just understand the problem. Understand the problem. You have everything you need right now. The business will tell you if it's time for you to build a website, you will see that, I'm getting an influx amount, or I'm getting ridiculous amounts of messages on WhatsApp. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't continue speaking to people on WhatsApp. It's really unsustainable. I can't do it. Then maybe it's a good idea to have a website where people will place orders, where you will enable people to pay directly from your website or whatever. Then you are slowly building processes that will slowly be replacing you from the manual work. But from the beginning phases, many people think, I need this, I need that, I need this, and we don't question why is it that we actually need these things.
And I'm honestly one of those people, I won't even lie, and you're making so much sense now. We always think that we need to start there, and more often than not, you just need to start with what you have, and then keep growing from there, because also the idea will evolve on its own. It will take a life on its own. That's also important to keep in mind as well. All right, now back to the recycling business. I just want to know, for anyone who's watching and they're interested, what options are you giving individuals who are busy with their thinking of getting into the space, who are in the space, and what options are you giving to, bigger brands or companies, established companies?
Yeah. So there's, I'd say, 3 stakeholders that we target. I'll start with the most important one, which is your mid-size to, I'd say, small to mid-size waste management companies. These are people who are either, buying waste from the informal waste pickers, or they are collecting waste from different malls or whatever. They have facilities in many cases. We want you to use our platform, take advantage of our platform. The value that we're providing, or the value that we're promising to you, is this. By being part of our platform, we're able, one, to connect you to buyers who will give you, essentially, if not the same, more than what you're currently getting for your materials. The platform will take a lot of administrative work from you that you are currently doing. That may include calling people, that may include ridiculous amounts of paperwork. That is all going to be gone, and the platform takes care of that. So anyone who's a recycling management company, reach out. Kudoti.com, that's us, you find us. Secondly, the informal waste picker. So anyone who is recycling on an individual basis, we do want those people to be on the platform as well. But if you are doing small amounts of waste,
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for some of our buyers to come collect, because these individuals don't have logistics. In many cases, they don't have trucks or vans, right? It's just a single individual who's going house to house to collect whatever waste that they find. And so if you are, say, in Tembisa, and we have a buyer who's in Joburg, and you want them to go collect, 50 kgs of, cans that you've collected, that doesn't make sense for us, because the money that would be spent from Joburg to Tembisa on its own is the money that, it will surpass, the cost will surpass what we will be getting, right? So for those individuals, waste pickers, I would encourage you to start collaborating. Yeah. Collaboration doesn't mean you have to share profits. Collaboration doesn't mean you have to you literally need to just agree that all in all, we have 10 people, we are collecting waste separately, individually, but we all know that collectively, all together, our waste is this much. And that also gives you bargaining power. You are able to negotiate pricing. If you have 50 kgs, nobody is going to take you serious. But if Gift has 100 kg,
so you're telling me 50 kgs is nothing in that world? Oh wow!
Yeah, but if you collaborate, all of a sudden you have much more, strong stock. Or sorry, what am I saying? You have much more strong bargaining power because of your stock. And when a buyer comes to you and say, well, we're not going to come collect, you say, okay, we have 5 tons of, waste. And it's not only me, I have other guys as well. And if you don't want it, it's fine. We'll go sell it elsewhere. You see, that's bargaining power. But 50 kgs, I mean, it won't help. So those are the second people. The first one is waste companies. The second one is informal waste pickers. The third one is brands, right?
Yeah.
And brands could be, either manufacturers of beverages. It could be manufacturers of our consumer products. Look, we understand that brands have created for many years corporate social responsibility initiatives that were targeted at empowering communities. What we've seen is ridiculous, unsustainable CSI projects that every single year are changed. You have one brand that is doing CSI this year in cleaning your community. You come back a few months, the community is still dirty, money has been spent, and they have, for that few months, we're able to look good. But that's not it. We are opening our doors to essentially collaborate with brands and manufacturers to build something that's quite sustainable. Not only that, we've seen that a lot of brands are unable to track and monitor the impact that they're having on communities. So if you are a brand and you have spent 2 million in a CSI project or a sustainability project, are you able to go back and say, since we spent 2 million, this is how we've improved people's lives? Very important. A lot of brands are unable to do that. With our platform, you can. When you've spent money, we will show you that, look, you've spent money on this community, and Gift was one of these communities. After you have spent money, look at how Gift has started growing his recycling business. Look at how Gift is able now to do this. Look at how much he's getting, in fact, because of you. And you can imagine what could be done with such use cases. These things I'm telling you about, Mbali, isn't fiction. We are doing them now. We have clients who we are doing this with. And for a long time, I don't know who said this or preached this. There's a lot of belief that is quite impossible to be a sustainably or an environmentally friendly brand and still make money. It almost sounds like you have to do one or the other. Like you can't be sustainable and then make money. If you want to make money, just make money. That's not true. I would actually argue that there's more opportunities in being sustainable than what we're currently doing now. The world needs it. You're not doing it for Gift. You're not doing it for Kudoti. As it stands, buddy, there's a lot of crisis that Earth needs. This issue of environmental awareness, this issue of pollution, this issue of climate change isn't fiction. This thing is real. It exists. And it is up to us to change it. Because if we continue doing things the way we are doing today, our behavior, our processes, how we view waste, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. As it stands today, we are seeing the negative implications of what pollution is doing in our oceans. I mean, I was in Durban last week, and we were at a private beach. It's supposed to be clean, supposedly.
Yeah.
There were more plastics where we were than seashells. There were more plastic bags on the beach that's supposed to be private than seashells. And the plastics are coming from the ocean. So there's a lot of damage that we have done, we are still doing right now to our planet. And if we don't stop, or if we don't change how we do things, a lot of things will disappear. We will create new problems that were never there before. To give you an example with this plastic thing, we are now at a point where the actual fish that is taken from the ocean is starting to eat plastic. So the very same plastic that we are putting in the ocean, the ocean life is consuming it, and it's coming back to us. We are eating it. So fish are starting to eat plastic, and plastic is then inside a fish, and then you come back and eat. We don't know what those things will start doing to the human body. We don't know what diseases that will come up with. And when you speak climate change, people just look at you like, this one, it's really easy for you to think climate change doesn't affect you when you are in this consumer, side. It's very easy. Believe me, I know, because I am trying every day to change it, to change behavior, to question, to be very cautious of what we're doing. We are facing animal extinction. There's a lot of unpredictability that is happening with, just our climate. And really, if we affect the ocean, we are affecting the whole world. People forget that 70% of Earth is the ocean. The ocean is the great climate influencer. The weather patterns, the floods, the whatever. If we disrupt the ecosystem that is built by the ocean, which we are disrupting every single thing on Earth, And I personally, and this is why I'm so advocating this recycling, this circular environment. I believe it's possible for a brand to manufacture a product, to sell that product in a retail, for that product to be bought by Mbali or Gift, for Mbali to use that product, and after, the waste that comes from that product, whether it's a plastic or it's a cardboard or it's a can or whatever, for that can to be responsibly taken back into the value chain. A lot of people think recycling is just putting things in a dustbin. That is not. You're just literally putting things in a dustbin, right? A lot of municipalities and departments in Joburg, in South Africa, are unable to accurately tell you how much waste is being produced in cities. If you go to a lot of municipalities and you ask them, you as a municipality, it is in your duty to understand the environmental impacts your citizens are having. Tell us, how much waste is currently being produced? A lot of them don't know. But I believe in a world where once Mbali has used the plastic or the can or the cardboard, that cardboard is put in the bin. The city is then able to come take it, track where that plastic is going, and then it ends up back into the village. And that plastic is taken, is converted into something new, a chair, or maybe the bottle or whatever. That for me is the world I want to build. And every single thing that I do in Kudoti and outside of Kudoti is in trying to show people that it is possible. This world is a possibility. It's something that can be done. It's something that will be done. It would require us to work together. We need to come together and sit and say, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can do. Because we can't do it alone. Kudoti is not going to solve the world's, problem when it comes to circular economy.
That was actually a very insightful, Gift. When we started this conversation, I legit thought this is all just about technology. Turns out, no, it's about our life cycles as humans in the environment, how we're treating ourselves, how we're treating, the life around us, and how that's going to come back and affect us as people. So you guys, what you're doing with Kudoti is you want to stop it before it even gets there. And I agree with you when you say that, recycling, living green, and all those things are not that much highlighted when it comes to Africa or South Africa, I can say. And I'm not sure why we are not really so focused on the green part of things. I think it's also because that we've never really been affected terribly by natural disasters, so that we can pay attention to those things. But knowing that even though in the absence of natural disasters, we are creating our own disasters that will come back and bite us. And this is what companies of today are doing, solving those problems before we even get there. I think it's magnificent.
Look, there's two things I want to say there. First of all, is we are affected. If you look at the climate history, you would see that we are now at a point of ridiculous unpredictability of the weather. Climatologists are unable to predict with sufficient accuracy of weather patterns. It's starting, but these are things that people are not aware of, right? They think, oh, it's cold and it was hot now. Oh, okay. It's extreme hotness.
Yeah.
And it's true. When people say the ice is melting, people just think, oh yeah, so what? How does that affect me? Well, it affects you because if the ice melts, it means that there is going to be more water in the ocean. And if there's a lot of water in the ocean, there might be floods, there might be weird things, there might be storms. That ice in itself was cooling the earth. So if if there is no cooling of the earth on the other side, it means that the heat on the earth is going to then go up. But these are things that are very subtle, that people you need to intentionally know these things so that what's causing them. And a lot of people aren't. Secondly, you are right. I do want to agree with you when you're saying that in Africa, there's a lot of I don't want to say ignorance, but it isn't prioritized. If you come in and you speak about climate change, people will say, hey, we have real issues here. We have corruption here. We have issues that we need to solve today. But this issue is important. And it is a little bit sad because I believe climate change is part of the contribution to this inequality that exists. And I say this quite carefully because most of the developing nations aren't really responsible for the production of the products that pollute the environment. They mostly are consumers, right? The biggest companies that produce waste aren't in South Africa. They aren't in Africa, most of them. Most of them are, elsewhere. If you shouldn't mention names, but they're elsewhere. And the communities that aren't producing much waste, in many cases, will also suffer. They will suffer from the actions of these other big conglomerates that exist. And they're the ones who should be held responsible, and they're the ones who should be taking proactive actions. And we're not pointing fingers to them and saying you guys are bad people. That's not what we're doing at all. In fact, what we're saying is here's an opportunity for us to sit down, to understand these problems, and to work together in solving them. Right? And that's what I said earlier, that what we want to do isn't to really badmouth people or whatever. We want to help people achieve what is good for the environment, for their business, and for the whole planet. In closing, I'm seeing, maybe I'm taking a bit of time. In closing, I want to say this: we have one planet. Everyone you have known, every single person that has ever existed in history came from this planet. That's how deep this thing is. If we are not careful of how we protect the one thing that we have in common, all of us, every single human being that has ever existed in the history of human existence came from one planet. It's Earth. And this planet, unfortunately, today is in trouble because of us. And I believe we can change things. I believe we can turn things around. But that would mean us going a little bit outside of our comfort zone. That would mean us doing things a little bit different.
Yeah.
And, you know, even maybe to bring it back to a much lower level, you know, the informal waste pickers that you see on the street, they don't know that what they're doing is good for the environment and, you know, how this climate change thing works and whatever.
Crazy.
They don't know that. They're
Yeah.
doing it because they want to feed their families. They're doing it because they're hungry. And if they sell this particular type of material, they will get money. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine. There's a lot more of unsung heroes that exist, not only in South Africa, in Brazil, in China, in Asia. There is a lot more unsung heroes that are proactively taking steps towards making the world a better place without even knowing. Why don't we encourage these guys? Why don't we empower these guys? Why don't we work together?
Yeah.
You know, why aren't brands working with these guys? Why aren't they doing that? We need to collaborate. And this is not something that, you know, Kudoti on his own can do. It's something that every single person in any part of the value chain would need to realize.
Yeah.
And we need to come to the table.
Yeah, and contribute towards. All right, so let me read a few comments here on the side. Just is saying, as long as we're solving problems, we will build sustainable businesses, which is correct. Also saying that plastic doesn't die. I guess that goes back, you know, to the ocean comment that you made, that there are more seashells than plastics on the oceans, which is quite sad. It's crazy. There's a question here by Usa Price Chilwane. Are you still aggregating the waste collected by Boma Gereza, or the target now is to enable anybody to become a waste collector and you aggregate it on their behalf? Just some clarity there.
Yeah. So we are not at all, let me rather say this. So we are a platform that gives anyone, including Aboma Gereza, a chance to collaborate, right? And so if you say a Machereza, you have very limited capacity as to what amount of waste you can collect. If you work really hard, there's a ceiling that you will get to, right? And Abu Machereza themselves, they don't work together for some reason, you know, they don't work together. What we want to do is encourage them to start working together. If they work together, that doesn't mean Uguti they will collect and then they share their stock. No, everyone still does things in their own way. They're able to still go and collect however much they can. And what we then just want them to do is share the data, or to share the amount of waste that they have collectively. And if we have 10 or 100 Abu Machereza collecting in Soweto, and they are storing their materials, so every single person has their own little, 10 kg, 5 kg, whatever kg, but all of that information is then collated into a centralized thing.
I see what you
Then
mean.
we have one significant amount. And if you then load that on the Kudoti platform, you are essentially gaining back power.
Yeah.
You as an individual, you will get more than you were getting previously, but you are not getting it because you are special or you worked hard. You are getting it because you've worked with everyone. You have aggregated this, and you have a single price that's coming based on the total amount of waste that you have.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, we are more or less aggregating it, but we encourage people to collaborate. I don't know what, I don't know why haven't people done this before.
Collaboration is king.
Collaboration is king. And that's what we do. We want these guys to be part of our platform, but the challenge we're having now is one person signs up. and they have the Kudoti profile and
Yeah.
they are engaging, but then, you know, they have 5 kgs. I mean, what are we going to do with 5 kgs? Then it still creates the same problems of them having to physically walk all the way to find a buyer for that material.
Yeah.
Because we can't even send a truck there. You know, I mean, if you send a truck there to pick up 5 kg, how
Yeah, for
much does
just,
it cost?
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't make sense. So it helps them out in a great deal. All they do is just collect, you know, get their waste into one pickup spot. They call you guys to come get it, and everybody still gets, you know, that equal share of what they put in.
Yeah,
That's it.
They get more actually, because right now, another thing is, you know, because they don't collaborate, different people take their waste to different to different you know, buyers and sellers. So you'd have Gift who says, I don't want to take it to your guy, I'll take it to my guy, and maybe Gift is getting 10 cents more than you know, Mbali, and Gift doesn't say that information.
We lost Gift again, but we're almost done. So at least he was able to hold on for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to wait for him to come back, guys. Thank you so much for your comments and for sharing. I see your likes. I see your comments. I'm reading them on screen. If you know of anyone else that you would like for us to feature, please just put it on the comment section and we'll feature them. If you've got ideas, if you've got, you know, suggestions about who you'd like to see us interact with on screen, just put it on the comment section. Welcome back, Gift.
just as I thought that problem was gone, man.
We forgive you. It's okay. You stayed long enough.
Yeah. But yeah, man, collaboration is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We need that. We need
that. And on your comment of collaboration, I have a Slibucho here saying the unfortunate thing is they collaborate at a micro level, and that's survivalist in nature. Adding to the collaboration point. And then there's Uchacha Mochonyane saying sharing data, working together. She's advocating for it. I hope I said your name right. If not, you will forgive me. There's a question here for you, Gift. Maybe we can just run through one or two. What do you think of the monopoly in the industry, in the recycling industry?
Well, how this industry is set up is has taken many years to be where it is. I think it's fair to acknowledge that there are monopolies in any industry, but this industry in particular, man, there's a lot of inefficiencies that exist here. So, and it's a matter of resource, right? So, if I were to give you maybe a practical example of how far this industry goes with a single type of material, there is let's take cans. I've been saying cans. So there's a single guy on the road who takes cans out of the bins or the households. He collects it. He takes it to a small facility somewhere in Soweto. He gets a very small margin. Then that guy in Soweto, he either compresses the cans, or you can't shred them, or bales them. Then he takes it to someone else who also gets a little bit of, they then also get a little bit of margin. Then there's this significant player that's just right here, right? And this guy, in many cases, is the market, he's the price setter. And I'm saying it because when you are a big recycling company and you have sufficient supply coming in your operation, you can set the price, which means you can decide how much you pay people. So in many cases, they are ridiculous margins that these guys get for material. And when you set a price, obviously you are putting on big margin, and I would imagine any business wants to make as much margin as possible. But they then set these prices that these prices then essentially influence the whole market. In the waste industry, we haven't found a single price benchmark. It depends on who the big player is. and they're able to then influence market. You could imagine if someone doesn't have a good supply of cans going into their market, into their business, they can just raise the price. So they pay people more. And then by doing that, more people will bring waste.
Yes.
If they see that, oh, we have enough, they lower the price. And then, people would not be bringing waste. I don't see anything wrong with that. What I do see being, an opportunity of improvement is the many different layers that exist until the material gets to someone who's actually converting that material into something else. So again, coming to the cans for the price, the actual price for cans is affected by the London Metal Exchange. So the London Metal Exchange, just like any other market, works as the market works. There's fluctuations of pricing, up and down, but that information is then filtered to the big guys. The big guys that are collecting massive amounts of tonnages, and they can either be sending it abroad, to places like China. They can be sending it to places like America, where there's a lot of big manufacturers there that are converting this cans into
an actual product.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I think, particularly in South Africa, and I will speak about South Africa because that's where I am, there is a handful of key influencers in this industry that are controlling the industry and the price as well. For now, I have no clue as to how we break that, and maybe it shouldn't be broken. Maybe this is something that should just go on as it is, because they are also advantage to this structure.
Okay.
But I do feel like it's fair that we start somewhat leveling the playing fields and somewhat giving people what they deserve. And the only way to do that, is to bring everyone onto the table and have people into this single platform and say, okay, well, we have this guy offering this much. How much are you offering? There's a lot of moving parts. The waste industry is very complex. What I'm saying it doesn't fully cover it, and someone could debate that that's not how it is. That person would be right as well. Someone could come and say that is correct. That person would be right as well. And in many cases, you don't even know these monopoly companies. You don't. They are massive. They have been doing this for many ages, some even before I was born, and they have solidified the networks that they have, and it goes really deep in the roots, such that when they make it affects the whole market. And because it's unregulated, no one is able to show what is acceptable in this industry or what is not acceptable. Whatever they say goes. And I think for now, that's the only, I guess, comment that I could give. But as time goes by, I would imagine that when we run significant amounts of tonnages through the platform, perhaps we will be in a position to say, we don't deal with waste. We don't have a buyback center. We're simply a platform,
I see what you mean.
We have values that we strongly believe in and we strongly want to build on top of, and those are the values that we will stick at. In fact, I would imagine that every single great innovation does that. It needs to cause an industry disruption. You've probably heard this before, but Uber has caused a disruption on the taxi industry. And it's because of technology. Uber doesn't own any car. Uber doesn't employ any driver. It essentially gave the driver and the passenger the tools they need to do the transaction. And we want to do that with waste as well. We don't want to be having trucks. We don't want to be having informal waste pickup. What we just want to do is give digital technology, give digital tools and resources to the people that need it in order to empower them to do what they do better, quicker, faster. Which means that even these big monopoly guys, if they come to the table and say, okay, we are willing to pay this price to these guys, can you give us supply? If that price is good and it works and it empowers the guys who are actually doing the work, why would we say no? There's no way we would say no. That's what we want. And there's no level, there's no limit. It's just, whatever, because no one knows anything. And we want to somewhat start shedding some light into that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That was very wholesome. Thank you so much, Gift. I still had more questions, but we couldn't go through all of them. So it would make sense to catch up with you again some other time when there's some growth in the company as well, to see where you would be. Because, I'm pretty sure there are some questions that I skipped, that I didn't go through, but that's okay. Do you have any parting shots for us?
I want to say this to everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
We only live once. And that's a reality. And I know it's something that you don't want to hear on a Friday. But the harsh reality is one day, Gift and Mbali and whoever is watching will no longer be on this planet. And as sad as it is, for me, that's exciting, because it makes me aware that I should not play small. Yeah. Understanding that I have limited time on this world gives me power to go and give it 100% of me every single day, and do what you're really passionate, something that you want to be a mark. There's a lot of people that just wake up with the idea of, no, I'll be okay next week, or like, I'll do this business
I'm trying right here, I won't grow
for next year. Hey, look, you don't even know if you'll be here tomorrow. You don't know. You need to start playing big. You need to start going after the things that you want, because one day, this is your time. You have one chance. This is that chance. This chance we have right now is the only chance you will ever get. Do not play small. Go and build something that is meaningful. Nelson Mandela also said that there's no benefit in playing small. He understood that. Great as he was, he's never coming back. He passed. He did what he could. He gave it his absolute best. Whatever that he could do, he did. Go after what you can. Do not play small. Go big. Fail. Do it again. Fail. Learn. Do it again. Until it works, because it will work. We've seen it countless times. You look at Elon Musk, the things that guy has been able to achieve in a single human life is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Why? He doesn't play small. He thinks of living at Mars and a different planet. He thinks of electric cars. He thinks of big things. And if you consistently think of big things and you put in the actions toward achieving those big things, you will get it. Even when you do fail, guess what? You will fail big. And with big failing comes big lessons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the way Gift looks at failure. There's always two sides to everything. If you win, yes, there's that, and then there's the money. But if you fail, then there's the lessons. You get two equal opportunities every time you take a chance. So I say go out there. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you've got more questions for Gift, please just put them in the comment section. And I would like to catch up with you again next Friday, same time. I might not be here, but someone else will be if I'm not. So in the meantime, think ownership. Thanks for tuning in.